Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Philip, I'm also known as PS or PS Enough. This will be a video about the demo scene and in particular why the 4K category in the demo scene is the best category ever. This is part of the pick a topic, any topic tier that I have on my Patreon. So thank you for the Patreon supporter who asked me to talk about this topic. And I'm going to break it down in two parts actually. The first one will be this video that we're doing now with the top 10 of the best 4Ks ever. And you will understand why it's important that we do this in two parts by the end of the video. So let's get started. The top 10, according to Pouet, whatever site that may be. I know Truck has some griefings with Pouet not being a very reliable source of information. But anyways, let's take the top 10 from there. So if you take a look at the best 4Ks ever, you will see that in number 10 we have Salt by Loonies. Loonies is a group that became very famous because of their crinkler tool that they've been using to have greater packing sizes into their intros, and Salt was one of those entries that really took advantage of that early on. It got third place at Breakpoint 2009, but people like it so much that it became one of the top 10. It features these chains going inside. I'll put the video down here below so you can see it as I'm talking about it. In number 9 we have Yellow Rose of Texas. This was by Fit and Bandwagon. It won Assembly in 2003. It became very known not only because it was an awesome 4K, very cohesive, just one effect, but the sound was good, the effect was very cohesive, it changed a lot and very dynamic, and it also became very famous because it was ported to a lot of other platforms. It was ported Linux, Windows, Amiga PPC, Mac OS, Dreamcast, mobile phone, PlayStation, Mac OS, Android, Raspberry Pi. I'm checking the list here, so a lot of different entries. It's the guys from Fit and Bandwagon, they like to port stuff, or they make their code easier to be able to port, so then it's easier to make these things work on all the different platforms. So this became a very famous intro back in the early 2000s, and that's why it's still in number 9 today. Number 8 we have Artvertar Depth by Acronic Analogica. This one revision 2012. It featured a lot of fractals. I think that's why it's one. I don't really recall it that well, so but it has 173 upvotes on Pouet, so people really liked it at the time. It was a great compo, and it just completely took the whole compo by storm. So congratulations to them. In number 8 we have, or number 7 actually. Shut up, Xing Xing. I'm trying to do a video here. Cats. In number 7, I believe, we have Nucleophile by Portal Process and TBC. This was a great collaboration between the Finnish guys, the Norwegian guys, and the guys from Denmark. Of course, TBC was using some special synths at the time, and they were the guys that were behind what became shit. I don't want to say something wrong here. Actually, the synth, I think it's from Loonies, but these guys were already using it. And here I see the code for the synth was made by Mentor, and Pyrrhix made the music. And Pyrrhix is very known for having done a lot of music for different 4Ks throughout the years. So this one won Assembly in 2008. It featured a lot of good effects, some good music, and it's got very known because of that. Next up we have Receptor from TBC, another one between the Mentor and Pyrrhix, the same guys that were the previous one. It's got second place at NV Scene 2008, and that got them the 6th place on our top 10 list. Top 4 we have, or the 5th place is Rootbox by AkaTrans. This was in those periods where we were starting to see a lot of ray traced stuff on the 4K intros. We already seen a few productions before, but at this point people were just doing, you know, two triangles, putting a shader and doing all the effect inside the shader, having ray traced effects inside there, and then compressing everything a lot using Crinkler. And these guys from AkaTrans were starting to develop their own synth for this, and this is why this intro in particular became more known because of the quality of the music. The synth ended up being called Forklang, and it's very used nowadays. This intro in particular won MAME in 2009, first place there, and it even got nominated for Best 4K Intro Award at the Synth.org Awards in 2009. Number 4 on our top 10 list is Texas by KeyBorders. This was a very awesome intro, I love this one. This was made by KeyBorders. He has some guys from Efidrina also involved there. Load Error was involved in it, and it was very interesting because they took full use of the Windows system. Windows as by default a WAV file around on the system file, so they picked that file and they chopped it up and used it as source for the synth. So the synth had the sounds that were not possible to synthesize otherwise, but all the systems, or actually I think this was made for Windows 7 at the time, and you needed Windows 7 for it to get the full effect on this. And the effect is really good, it really shows what you can do with geometry shaders at the time. You see a lot of extrudes happening around, so 3D cards were also being abused a lot at this time. This one, NVScene in 2008, got the first place, and it also won the Synth.org Award for the best 4K at the time. Number 3, Stuck by White and Orange. So music by Dune, which is a legend in the demo scene, and he did some coded stuff, coded sounds, very ethereal, ambient, really my kind of stuff. Drone sounds, great work on code by EZ and Unk. They did this whole geometry dividing thing, and they put some amazing visuals on it. It's only just a ray trace scene, but it looks really good. They even wrote a write-up on how you did those kind of visuals, and you see them a lot in more modern 4Ks. Those subdividing of spheres and then adding some random geometry to it to make it look more complex. So yeah, this was really groundbreaking. It won Chaos Constructions in 2010, was nominated for a shit ton of awards, and it won the best 4K in 2010 as well, the Synth.org Award for the best 4K. Congratulations to White and Orange. Second up on the best 4Ks of all time, we have Atrium by TBC and Loonies, and this was the epic or the climax of the 4Ks that were being done in the late 2000s, on the decade of the first 2000s. This one, Breakpoint in 2008. There were a lot of good 4Ks around 2008. This one shined on the way that it presented the content. It had like this escalation of complexity, which really works very well. Also, the music was very good, the effect itself looked very good. You had the ribbons that were made famous by Fairlight a lot. Fairlight used to do a lot of 64Ks with ribbons and those kind of effects, so this was a bit of an homage, also the Fairlight use of the ribbons. And they packed it like hell. It had a lot of content. People couldn't believe how many scenes it had on the 4K. And that was mostly because of Crinkler, the tool that Blueberry developed while they were working on this intro in particular. So they got a lot of awards for that, and they are top 2 on Pouet all-time 4K intros because of that. And number 1, we have Elevated by RGBA and TBC again. RGBA was already very famous for all their 64Ks. IQ was totally known for his quality of doing rendering graphics and compressing stuff down. He wrote a lot of tutorials explaining the different techniques that he did. Really great source for stuff. IQ is the man on the demo scene, especially for small-sized intro stuff. And here he did his best 4K ever. Like he's always been trying to do the best terrain ever. Every, I think it's 3 years or 4 years, he tries to do best looking terrain effect. And this was the 4K that he did for that. Very realistic terrain, looks like snow everywhere. He didn't have music, so he went to the best guys that had the best synth at the time, which were TBC. TBC did an awesome soundtrack for this, and it became an epic. If you've never seen Elevated, please go see it right now. And yeah, so those are the top 10 of the best 4Ks known in the demo scene, at least according to Pouet. And I will show you on the next video the most recent 4Ks and how much they have been evolved since this. And especially if you notice the tools that we're using, this crinkler and all those softens that started to emerge during these intros. Forklang, the one from TBC, I think it's Klinkster. I'm not sure if that belongs to Blueberry or Mentor, but there are others. There are Oivos, and there is another synth. I'm not sure if Mentor's synth is actually public. Actually, to tell the truth, I would need to check with either Mentor or Pouet about that. But yeah, you can see all these tools that we're building up to be able to compress, to have more scenes in a 4K, because in the beginning, in the late 90s, 4K was just one effect, and usually had some music, but it was very simple music. And during 2000, you see this constant evolution that people, first you had Crinkler that really helped put more scenes in it, and then everything moved to shaders. Shaders are better to pack, you can compress them better because it's just text, so that helped a lot as well. And then you had all the evolution in the synthesizers that really starts to shine now. People are really pushing the limits on that, and you will see that on the next video. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this video now. I'll have to edit this and put all the videos of the 4Ks down here below. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that jazz. Share with your friends, share with your mom, share with your cat. For all means, Xing would like some competition here. So see you next video. Bye bye everyone. Take care.